So, let's see. Are we live? And it looks like we're live, but can we hear me? Do we have the audio, y'all? Do we have the audio? That is a big question.
It looks like we're
Yeah, we got the audio. We are here. We'll give it a little bit for people to start coming in, or maybe this is going to be a sad live. Nobody watches this, but if you watch it after, you are a real MVP, and you are a true MVP if you watch this during the live. Just want to let you know that. So, this is a very impromptu. I had the async video I was going to do, y'all, and then I realized, you know what? I'm missing some information I think is going to be crucial for this video. So I'm going to push that to tomorrow, as well as break down the End of Oak Street trailer that just came out, because that deserves its own video as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. I am working on a schedule right now to really get things going. It is the first of the month. I want to start it off a little bit more organized. It's not looking like that right now, but I promise you, just trust, y'all. Just trust we're going to get through this and have a really great month, an amazing summer. Our big goal this summer, throwing it out into the universe, 75,000 subscribers. Our goal for June is 50,000. We got to get to 50K by the end of the month. But by the time September rolls in, 75K. That is the big goal we are going for, and it's doable. I think we can do it. I think that we are definitely an amazing community here that loves to talk about horror movies in particular, but we definitely love to talk about other movies. And, you know, I would be excited going into TIFF to see us hit that 75K, especially the fall festival season. Fantastic Fest coming right around the corner as well. And, you know, I'm excited about Sundance next year as well. But, you know, with TIFF coming up, Obsession being one of our best performing videos as well, a movie I had the opportunity to watch last September at TIFF, it just feels great to go into TIFF maybe knowing that we'll have 75K followers or subscribers, right? But today we are talking about the film Obsession as well as the film Backrooms that are currently just dominating at the box office. Now, I think it's incredible to see this happen. I think that the industry is paying close attention, in particular because Mando and Grogu, not so hot. I think it's barely gonna make the production value back, and there's still marketing, there's still a ton of other things where it needs to make money. I think that film is looking to profit once it crosses over 250 to 75 million. Then we're talking pure profit after that. So I think that they were looking to make at least $500 million to $750 million. I think they were expecting that billion, to be honest, when this first got greenlit, but that was back when this was a very popular series. I think people have definitely swayed in a different direction now, right? It's a pendulum always, and I don't think people are there where they wanted them to be there for Mando and Grogu. I think people are here where we are with Backrooms, where we are with Obsession, these films that are very more intimate scale. And that's what we're seeing at the box office right now. I think we're seeing that people are just like, you know what? I like the IP for a bit, but I feel like it's gotten too much. I like these new interesting wild takes and ideas that I'm not seeing a lot of. I'm going to go there. And I think that this is not really like people are calling it the YouTube renaissance. I think this is just an indie renaissance. But the thing that is being clouded by it is the YouTube aspect of it, because I think people forget that sometimes, you know, people put a lot of production into these YouTube videos, and it is a way to showcase your work. We're about to get some other filmmakers that are coming from YouTube, which I want to talk about some of these shorts that are currently being developed into features that started on YouTube, and you're going to be seeing in the next year or two. And it's going to be the same conversation over again. Can a YouTuber make a movie? Yes, anybody can make a damn movie, y'all. Whether you are just starting off, whether you are a seasoned filmmaker and all of that, it is impressive to see somebody complete a film and be able to present it. And I really got to give it to Kane Parsons, Curry Barker, because we are getting some amazing, amazing stuff from these young filmmakers. So we are here, we're talking Backrooms, we're talking Obsession, because of course they were going to be compared, and I don't think they should be compared. I think they complement each other very well. These are two films that cost pretty much like the most minute money that can be from a like production that is put on full display like worldwide, right? Obsession with about 750K in production, and then Backrooms with 10 million. both have already crossed the 100 million mark. Backrooms did it in its first weekend, which of course it had a lot of steam behind it with the lore, with the internet creepypasta that it was going with. So it had a lot of power behind it. Obsession, of course, really surprised everybody on its second weekend when it went and made more money than its first weekend, and it is now currently on 100 million plus ride. And it was going to be out pretty soon on digital, and they decided, you know what? We can make a ton more money if we leave it in theaters, which is a great idea because we've been seeing that a lot of movies are just being yanked and pulled too quickly sometimes. And albeit sometimes, it makes sense, but other times it's just they are trying to make more money, like by making people rent it or whatever, right? But I think this is the best case because Obsession, I think, is a film you really have to see in the theater. If you haven't checked it out in the theater and you're just like, I'll wait for streaming, it is going to be a completely different experience. Trust me on that. I still remember seeing this back at TIFF when it opened and it just being a mind-blowing movie. Very much so reinvigorated in me like wanting to make a film as well. So I think that is definitely what's so powerful about these projects is it's going to bring a renaissance of sorts where the studio system is sort of like, you know what? I think we've been getting it wrong for the past like 7 years now. We have become so focused on IP, and that's just that all we want to do. We just want to make a live action of an IP that was animated that worked before. We want to flip that around and make something that completely expands the lore of an IP we already did, even though we made it marvelous. And now we want to make it more of a, yeah, that worked before, maybe it'll work again, let's tweak a little things here and there, instead of giving these fresh new ideas a chance. But I think that what Obsession and Backrooms are doing is showcasing to Hollywood, like, yeah, that's not going to work no more. You have to go out there, you have to try. And I think what we're going to be seeing is a lot of great filmmakers come out of this, like we've seen before, right? It's always happened like this. This isn't something new in Hollywood. There were moments since the inception of movies started where there was the studio system, you could say, from the 30s into the 50s, and then eventually we saw them take more chances with these people that were auteurs, were trying different things. Eventually we cycle back again to the studio system, and then comes the 70s into the 80s where we saw more of these chances because people got tired of the studio system. And then the 90s came through, a little weird and stuff like that, but eventually we got back to having these auteurs. So it's always a thing. The pendulum always goes like this every time, and it's just the way audiences react, and it's always going to be like that. People at some point, they're like this, I'm tired of these indie films, I want to see something that is mass produced and is going to give me exactly what I want. And then eventually reach the top and then say, you know what, that's gotten tiresome, I want to see something original and new from a young filmmaker, something that's going to shock me off my feet, right? Knock me out of my feet, shock me. Well, some of these movies can shock you. And then you're back here. And then eventually it's going to go back like this. And that's just the nature of anything, really, not just the entertainment industry. It is a pendulum that swings back and forth. And I think right now, where we are is we are at the end right here of the studio films that are becoming more like every single month there had to be one, right? Whereas now they are back to what they used to be, was tentpole films. And these tentpole films will come in the summer, they'll come in the winter break, they'll come during the fall season, and they will just be there enough to still gauge the audiences that do want this, because at the end of the day, there's still going to be people that do want the films. We saw that there is a lot of want from these other movies that are not necessarily the ones that, now I lost the train of thought right there. But you see what I mean? Like, we're getting into that section now where people are like, I want to see something original and new. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also worried about one thing with Backrooms' success is how much internet lore creepypasta adaptations are we going to see that are not going to be good, because it's just going to be studio systems not getting the people that are passionate about these things to make them and just throwing them out, seeing what sticks, like Backrooms, and just sort of being in a way cheap because they just want to get people that first weekend and eventually don't care. They're kind of going to be cheap to make as well. I think that's what they're thinking. I think also we might see a lot of creators that are going to be swayed to just hop onto the studio bandwagon if they have a large enough following, do the film for them, and it's not really a project that's gonna succeed either. So I think we're going to see a lot of things. The industry rapidly changes. They are always trying to figure out what's next. And I think it's too late at this point. I think that if they try to hop on this bandwagon of sorts from Curry Barker and Kane Parsons S movies, it's already too late, because the filmmakers that are doing this are going to have their stuff, but it will be probably overshadowed by the studio system trying to replicate whatever happened here. And I think Blumhouse also, seeing how much money they made from this, it's going to go back to them being what they were doing beforehand, which was just slop, honestly. So that's the only thing that's worrisome. It's exciting and it's worrisome, and we got to have that discussion. I think that this is going to do a lot of good, but it's also going to do a lot of bad, and we'll see what happens in the near future as well. But we got a lot of exciting stuff that got announced. Like I said, Backrooms doing amazing during the weekend. Obsession continuing that viral run. Also, of course, we have the End of Oak Street trailer that just released, which I really am excited to watch. I haven't watched it yet. I will be watching it. I will be doing a breakdown for it and talking more about that, so stay tuned. I just didn't really have the chance to do a video today, but I will be getting back to that tomorrow, and I'm excited about it, honestly, because I got a lot of plans. I'm reworking a lot of the channel as well, like graphics and all of that. Also our website. You can check us out on TikTok as well. A lot of different changes coming, as well as focusing on other projects during the summer that I'm excited to talk about. So that announcement tomorrow as well. But yeah, Obsession, Backrooms, really great stuff here happening. I do want to make more videos on Backrooms as well, so stay tuned for that async video as well as the Clark video, and then we'll talk about what a potential Backrooms sequel could look like. I've been waiting for them to just announce it already, because I feel like they definitely have it already. There's like meetings going on at this very moment probably, where they're trying to figure out when are we getting that new Backrooms movie for sure in the coming years. And it's exciting. We're in the summer season. We are getting into fall festivals as well. Cannes just happened, and some great films that came out. I'm excited for a ton of them as well, like Can't Me Ozma. We also have the new film Hope that is just gotten a release date of September 9th. I was expecting that to go to TIFF, so now I'm just wondering what the hell are they even going to play at TIFF this year. But we'll talk about TIFF movies pretty soon as well, so stay tuned for that. But Backrooms Obsession, really great run. I'm excited to see what this means for the future in film. I think that it is a good thing, like I said, an indie renaissance of sorts. We've seen it happen before. It's something that's very important for the industry as well. It's for itself to go in that way, sort of like try to be this like with Backrooms, right? We have Backrooms, a film that is sort of taking liminal space, and something that I don't think a lot of people, you could say, in the whole like mainstream talk about liminal space, and we saw it be sort of put into a story that was pretty interesting as well, because well, we're talking about both right now, but I'm going to talk about Backrooms a little bit, because I am making a video as well on async and all of that, and I'm editing it, so I'm going to try and finish that today. But I am interested in seeing how they want to approach a sequel to Backrooms, because they're definitely making a sequel for this. The question is, do they make a TV series or they make another film? Because I feel like with Kane Parsons' Backrooms, he definitely has some interesting lore there, but I feel like when it comes to it just being a 1 hour and 50 minutes movie, or even 2 hours, we don't get enough time to really dive deep into it. And yes, Backrooms, I think, is what makes it scary, is that we don't know much of it, but I think what also makes it scary is knowing a little bit more, right? Like the whole async thing, we just know that they're in there trying to make more space to sell. They want to sell this space in the Backrooms. They want you to buy it for a warehouse, or they want you to buy it for storage facilities. They want you to use it for office spaces, residential areas. So Async is an interesting company that I wouldn't mind seeing a sort of series, or even if it's not on TV or on YouTube, showcasing them going in there and trying to figure out what's going on, sort of like what Kane has been doing already. And that would be interesting to see what that would look like, right? Well, before that, I was just talking about how I think that the Backrooms is gonna make like the studios and everybody that's working in films right now try to look for the next like quote unquote creepy pasta to make into a film, and that they're going to try and do something with it. So we're about to probably see a lot of different film adaptations of that. That's what I was talking about, that we're probably going to see that happen pretty soon, especially because the Backrooms did so good at the box office. But I would definitely be open to seeing a Backrooms 2 that explores as well Mark Duplass' character of Phil. I just was very like confused that we didn't get more of his character. I thought we were, considering that Mark Duplass is kind of like a biggish actor in the indie world. But I really do feel it's because they're saving it up for the next film. I think that Kane Parsons also talked about the vice president of Async being worked on for a potential future project, which his name is Ivan Beck, and very important in the lore as well. So I think that we definitely haven't seen the last of Backrooms. I think there is a lot more story to go from here. I don't know if we see Mary Klein back, like the character that Renata played. I think if anybody we see back, it's going to be uh, what's his name? Mark Duplass as Phil. I think that could be the connecting tissue between all Backrooms. Iron Lung. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch Iron Lung. It was kind of hard to find in my city, so I'm curious to watch it now that I think it is releasing or already released, like to watch digitally. So I definitely want to see that one. Because I've heard a lot of great things about that one for sure, and I'm curious about it. It also was a pretty big film that really did a lot of change also for the industry, because that was a movie that really was like distributed and all of that indie. It was like just all on Markiplier pretty much, which I thought was just a phenomenal thing to see, somebody being able to distribute that, make that, and all that without big connections, right? That's definitely, I think, the biggest accomplishment for sure of the year as well, that they were able to get that into theaters across the nation. And I wish it was playing in more places for a longer time, but that's the way to go when you do it indie. But definitely excited to see whatever project that he does next, we do see it at a larger scale be more released. And I think that was a good step forward to a lot of indie creators for sure that are trying to get their projects out. Like, it's just been a great year for the indie filmmaking community, I feel. And I think that Iron Lung for Markiplier really started off the year strong with that. And now with Obsession and also Backrooms continuing that fire from Iron Lung, I think we're going to see a lot of change come from that. Really could change. Yeah, I think that we didn't get enough of the found footage and also the creepiness, because the found footage parts were definitely like the highlights for me too, especially when Bobby was down there and also the opening shots with the async employee. Those were really where the movie was shining a lot. I think that they were trying to do too much with the other characters and also trying to give each of them a backstory. So it all just kind of felt like too much. Like, it was just like good at first when we were seeing all of the areas of the back rooms. That was the most unsettling part of it all. Yeah, I was wondering about that too, the pool rooms, because I think they like kind of like teased it a little bit, but then they kind of like went in a whole different direction. So that's why I'm curious about what exactly they're going to be doing with the next one. Like, because they definitely can't be doing just the same type of feel with different characters, right? Like, character goes in, gets lost, somebody goes to find them, and then that's what it is. I feel like the next one they definitely should focus more just being in the back rooms. I think we weren't in there enough, and we didn't really get a feel that they were this impending doom of sorts. Like, in the series we get that a lot, the found footage and all that, but I was hoping to see that more in a big screen adaptation. No, yeah, I do think that it was interesting that we didn't get all that either too. And I think that that was the thing with a lot of the things, that the levels things, because I think people were talking about too this whole thing with seeing different adaptations from like different games, and I think people do forget that Kane Parsons does have his own series as well on it, which I think was a cool stuff to see as well. So I definitely am curious what Kane will do next. So do we see a series? Do we see a film? We'll see. But yeah, Yeah, that's the thing. There is too many adaptations of Backrooms because I think there's even like different games. I think there's like different series out there, and now there's other movies trying to do the liminal space. And it was going to be hard to please everybody for sure because I think that the thing with the Backrooms is maybe people didn't know it's based off of Kane's work. And I did like the whole thing he did. I watched them all like 2 years ago. I did a live on them, and it was definitely interesting to watch. And that's what I'm curious about now that this film did good. And I don't think that anybody wouldn't be allowed to make another Backrooms movie. How they will differentiate that this isn't Kane Parsons' Backrooms movie, and this is a whole other like adaptation of Backrooms, right? That's what I'm wondering as well. Like, how do we get people to know that when somebody else is going to come in to do a Backrooms movie, that it wasn't a Kane Parsons Backrooms, right? Because we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot of people trying to do their own Backrooms, just like the whole Mickey renaissance of horror movies happened, and Mickey Mouse was used just in a bunch of other horror movies. I think we'll see that with Backrooms because I don't think that anybody really owns the IPs for it, and it is just its own internet thing. So we'll see what happens in the near future because I'm pretty sure other studios are going to try and make their own Backrooms, and it'll be interesting what they do with it. But I do hope that Kane continues his series, whether that's making another movie, making a TV show, continuing his YouTube series. We'll see what happens. But I really did enjoy a lot of what I saw from Backrooms film. I thought that the whole story with Marie, I would have loved it if it expanded a little bit more on it. I think that Clark as well, it was kind of like torn a bit, the movie for me because of that, because I really wanted to feel for Clark too. Yeah, that's what I wonder if with another film like that, they would definitely have to get a different approach where we might just have a group of people stuck in the back rooms. I really love Kane Parsons' shorts as well when it's like just like these like young people that are just in there, and also the no clipping into them. Like I think that would be a terrifying thing to showcase in a film, is just like a group of strangers just getting no clipped and just trying to figure out what to do, and then the still life and everything in there with them. That's going to be interesting as well. Maybe async as well being a big part of the next one would be something I'd be open to seeing. There's just a lot of different directions, and I'm curious to see because I do see a lot of people torn between this movie and what they liked and didn't like, and nobody can agree with one another because it is Backrooms. It is a thing that just has too many different iterations out on the internet, even going on Reddit, going on the YouTube series, looking through the comments that Kane did. I see that there is a lot of back and forth with what people think Backrooms should be and what people say King Parsons Backrooms is. And I just don't think it's going to be a pleasing thing for anybody, really, unless you're just open minded and just be like, this is the movie that they made. Let's see what they did with that one. No like pressure, right? I'm not going to bring in any of my preconceived notions of what Backrooms should be. Let's just see what they deliver with, because there really isn't any rules to Backrooms except the rules that you make for it, right? And Kane did his own stuff, and this is his stuff. So I'm just curious to see what's going to happen next with that for sure. But as of now, they have not announced that there will be a sequel, so we're just waiting to see if there will be any announcement in the near future or not. Well, we just see all of the box office records that it's broken, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but very excited about this film. Um, I think it's gonna be good in the long run, maybe for Backrooms, because I think that people are just always gonna be interested in Backrooms. Yeah, Obsession doesn't really have much where people have bashed it. It seems to be a movie that is very perfect to a lot of people in a sense, and I think it's a really fun movie. I do think Obsession is really great. I did have some minor things with it the first time and second time I watched it where I think that it kind of holds back on itself a bit. I think that the whole thing with Obsession really relies on Indy Navarrete's performance. That's like the big thing about it, because I think without that performance, the movie really wouldn't have excelled as it did, because that's pretty much what everybody is trendingly talking about, right? That's the trend with Obsession. Besides the One Wish Willow, it is her performance. So I think with Obsession, that's really why there isn't much controversy, because the performance overshadows everything, which is a good thing for Indy. I'm curious to see it in Curry Barker's next project. If Indy's not in it, if it continues to flourish that way, right? His next project's great. His next project has Aaron Paul as well as Bryce Dallas Howard. I'll be watching it, and I'm curious about it if Obsession really was just because of Indy's performance. With Backrooms, I think that what we're seeing is a lot of backlash because of the whole thing with the characters not being what people think they should be, because people came in with this like preconceived notion of what Backrooms should be because of whatever lore they thought about before, or where they first found the Backrooms at. And I think that people now, with a sequel, knowing what they're getting into, I think that we're going to see Kane build a dedicated fan base, because everybody now who loved the first one is going to go to the sequel, and everybody who didn't won't come in for the sequel. But I still think a lot of people are going to be in there, right? I think that the way that it's sort of like showcasing that this is Kane Parsons' Backrooms and this is where we're going with is going to be good, because that's making people be like, I want to see his full vision. And, I enjoyed it. Even if some people didn't like it, I think it's still going to be good for the movie overall, because I think that's what it needed. It needed to sort of get the people out that didn't like Kane Parsons' Backrooms and realize this is Kane Parsons' Backrooms. It's not for me. But I think that that is going to also bring in people that didn't know about Kane Parsons' Backrooms, and they're like, I want to watch it. Because I've seen a lot of people come in here and say that this was their first time ever hearing about the Backrooms. And I think that that's really making people more excited. They have gone to look at his YouTube series. I saw that the YouTube series started to gain more views because of it, because people want to know more about it. And I think that's going to be good for the studio now, that they're seeing more people are finding out about it and they're like digging into the series and they want more. Yeah, this is definitely a great place for horror right now. I know it's always the topic every year that horror really is saving like the cinemas and all of that. And I do think that horror is always coming through for the movie theaters, because that's when the movie theaters are really thriving. But I think right now, this wave that we saw start this year with Iron Lung and continue on with Obsession and now with Backrooms is going to be something that's going to come in and really save filmmaking, because I think that we're shying away. I was talking about earlier where we were with just studio movies, big movies with big budgets, and then they weren't meeting the box office. Now these small movies are meeting the box office, and it showcases that people just want these new interesting ideas that they hadn't seen before from some younger talent that's really okay with taking it to that next level than compared to the studio system that's playing it safe all the time. Yeah, I really appreciate that on the Backrooms ending. That video did amazing as well, and I'm very curious on making more videos for Backrooms, but I don't want to make just the whole feed Backrooms. But I do have a video on Async and Clark coming out, but I'm also gonna do a breakdown of the new End of Oak Street trailer, which is a movie I'm curious about. Also, this week I don't know if I'm gonna be checking out much this week. I know Masters of the Universe is coming out, and that's a movie that I'm a little curious about. I'm curious about that movie a little bit. But next week is Disclosure Day, which is going to be an interesting test. Disclosure Day is going to be interesting because if Spielberg is not out here making back his budget, making a profit, I think that's going to be your big telltale sign that we are definitely shifting in Hollywood with what people want to see in theaters. So we'll see what happens with Spielberg once Disclosure Day comes out. What do you think the deal is with Marie at the very end? So with Marie at the very end, I have two theories. I feel either Mary got taken by Async, is being locked up, and she's just giving him as much information as she can, or Mary is like Async took her out because she knows too much, right? In the final clone we see at the end of Marie just goes back to what Clark said, that the Backrooms just keep memories of what happened here, right? And Mary's memories are now forever here and also a clone of her because we see her office, we see her room, we see many memories of Mary, and we also see a clone of her. So I think once the Backrooms is done with you or you've passed through the back rooms, you eventually just become a part of it and it just continues to grow from there. I think people have sort of described it as a bacteria of sorts, and I think it kind of is able to morph into everything that it comes in contact with and eventually is able to just give out this like mirror that's not right. Like Clark said, it's kind of almost right, but it's not really right. Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, the Outwaters, that was about like 2022. I also did the interview with the director, which was great. And I do want to get back into watching more of these like smaller indie films back then. It was fun. The Outwaters was definitely a great audio centric film, and I'm excited to see what their next project is as well. So yeah, I appreciate you've been following for that long. Really appreciate that. I am curious about Disclosure Day. Prediction I'm seeing is around 35 to 40 million for that. But I'm pretty sure it took a lot more money to make than that. So let's just see about that. How much money did it take to make? Because, like I said, if that movie doesn't do good, that's when we really have the full story that, yeah, Hollywood is shifting and honestly for the better. So yeah, Disclosure Day, it was around $115 million to make. And, oh, okay, so I was just talking about how Disclosure Day. Uh, okay, let me see. Just making sure we're good on everything. Yeah, I think we should be good right now. See. Just making sure we're good on everything. All right. Okay, so I was just saying how Disclosure Day is tracking supposedly to make 35 million. We'll see if it does make it to 35. $150 million budget to make, so they have to at least make, I would say, 200 million plus in order to start seeing profit after that. We'll see if it's able to get there. I'm very curious if it does. Yeah, yeah, definitely the trauma is gonna be something that she's getting over. Yeah, when she was able to attack the still life of Clark with the concrete of her mother, well, her handprint, all of them, I thought that was her being able to get past it as well. Yeah, it's a pretty sad ending, I feel, too. Pretty bleak to know that that's the only thing that will be remembered of her is what's left here. Yeah, I don't know. I remember I had an interview with that director, and I remember they were working on something new. Uh, I would definitely be curious to see what they want to do because I thought that was such a fascinating film. And it was just around the time also that Skinner Rink came around, and we had this like liminal horror, of course. And now I think the director of Skinamarink has another film that's going to be coming out this year, I believe. But yeah, do not see anything as of yet on their IMDb for a new film. As of yet, yeah. I don't see, unless there was, yeah, I'll definitely try and look out for that as well. But yeah, this is definitely a interesting place for horror. I'm excited to see what comes next. And, you know, we're going to make the video on async because I want to talk about async because I feel like that's definitely where the story is headed next. I do need to get a new camera as well because this camera is been giving me a lot of trouble as well as the mic. So I want to make some better live streams and I'm trying to figure that out. So Next live stream is going to be great. I'm excited for that, and I cannot wait. Appreciate you, Jimmy, as well as Galactic Drifter, being on here, listening to me talk about these things. If you're watching this after it's recorded as well, thanks for being here. We're going to be talking about Acing tomorrow. I'm also going to do a video on the end of Oak Street, and this week I don't think I'm seeing any other new movie besides maybe... I don't think I'm seeing any new movie actually. I've been watching a lot of older movies right now, like early 2000s, and we'll talk more about that in my May catch up of everything I watched for sure. So stay tuned for that, probably Wednesday. But appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, whether you're watching this live or after it's been recorded and uploaded. We'll have more discussions. I want to make these a thing now, the lives every day, but I'm going to get a better camera, or at least try to fix what's going on with this one because it looks too blurry. So stay tuned for that. But as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay positive.